Today we're going to talk about rhinos, other zoo animals, and the resurgence of tuberculosis and other diseases, believe it or not, on the Political Pulpit live edition, one of many. So stay tuned.
We pray for love and unity, and that the church would find new zeal and commitment to the mission and purpose of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
You're a liar! You're a liar!
Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart.
Welcome back to the Political Pulpit. Today's a special edition of our show, and this is going to be our live edition where we'll stream to you once a week live from whether it be Texas, Arizona, or any place in the world. But I'm extremely excited about this episode because we have a producer, co-host on the show with us today, Landon Medlock. What's going on, my brother?
Not much, man. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Landon's one of the producers here at the Political Pulpit. The backstory is we also partner with End Time Ministries using their studios in Dallas. So these guys are tremendous folks, and Landon is one funny dude.
We'll see.
Yeah. So I want it to be a little bit more of a relaxed show. It's going to be a live show. The next time around, we'll bring in some comments and we'll get your guys' reactions on those. But I have some things to talk about here. If you go to politicalpulpit.com, we're going to reference some of our articles that our writers put on the website for us, and a lot of stuff that goes on there you don't want to miss because it's real time. It's great information. We put a lot of information on there, a lot of video, a lot of cuts from Twitter. So let's dive right into it. The first one we're going to talk about is a headline, "The Quintessential Rhino," with Speaker Johnson. And we were all excited at one point. I think even Landon and I talked about it. We had somebody that was gonna be a minister who was gonna pray, who was gonna speak the name of Jesus on the House floor, and then all of a sudden the tides change a little bit. Landon, I think he did his prayer and then he closed the doors to the church or something. Not really, but it looks like he approved a bill or worked with the Democrats to get a bill passed for billions of dollars to Ukraine. So, what's up with that, Landon? I mean, I don't know. That's ridiculous to me.
Yeah, it's kind of like he played into the hands, or not, into the hands of the Democrats. But it's kind of like he played all the Christians and was like, "Oh, look, I'm a Christian. Look, I'm praying here. My worldview is the Bible," and then he goes and sells out the entire Republican Party.
I'm not really sure. I can't imagine the pressure he's under, but we talk about this all the time on the show. It's important that people of faith, and someone like Speaker Johnson, who seemed so strong at first, and then it's just like something changed. It's a crazy turn of events. A lot of pressure, I'm sure, from the Democrats, but it sounds like the angle he's taking is, I heard him say this the other day, we want to send the bullets but not the troops. That's why we're sending money to the Ukraine war and the Ukraine's border. But I speak for a lot of myself and a lot of other Americans. We have to protect our own border. I mean, our border's a mess. There's NGOs that I think are illegal cartels themselves, funneling and trafficking people over, taking government money. Money's coming from the government to the NGOs, funneling all these people into America, and it's flooding. I mean, I think it's something around 7 million people. It's absolutely insanity.
It's ridiculous. Well, if you look, a few months ago, there was that Iranian terrorist that was filmed, and he was saying, you don't know who I am, but you're going to know soon enough who I am. And I saw some articles that were saying, no, this wasn't the certain person that was he just got out of jail for trying to overthrow a government, and they put this guy out there that was like, no, this is the guy who was actually arrested, and the guy in the video is not this guy. But I went and researched it, and they are completely two different guys. From what it looks like, and one has a mole on his face, and the original guy who was the terrorist doesn't have a mole on his face. And so
but maybe the NGOs paid for the mole removal.
Yeah, maybe. You know what?
Who knows?
They got all the money in the world. So
I don't know.
Little mole removal wouldn't be too hard for them.
Not that hard. Not that hard. Well, I don't know. That's kind of scary stuff either way. I mean, there's a lot of Chinese nationals coming, military-aged men. That, I can't imagine what is going on or what the thought process is there. I have my ideas, and we'll dive into that soon. Here on the article, it says that Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene, she tweeted, Mike Johnson's speakership is over. You know she's after him. He has betrayed Republicans by handing the gavel to Joe Biden, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, and the rest of the Democrats. He betrayed us on border security. He betrayed us on funding endless foreign wars. And he betrayed us on FISA and so much more. I think we have that clip. Let's go ahead and play that clip really quick.
What Marjorie fails to notice is that we have been fighting on the border. We fight on it every day. We passed our comprehensive border security package, H.R. 2, at the very beginning of this Congress. It's been sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk. We passed all the resolutions. We passed these acts out of the House, and they get stopped in the Senate.
So, really quick, that was kind of that's what we thought we were going to get. Border security, funding for our border, and hopefully some sort of direction there. But it actually went to Ukraine's border. And we were excited, and I think that we had some hope. But now someone somewhere up to $90 billion is headed the other way, the wrong way. Isn't it funny? We file taxes, and then they're like, "All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Ship it off overseas."
Yep. Yeah. I was watching the Iranian not nuclear strikes. Hope that doesn't happen.
God no.
The Iranian strikes on Israel, and it's like, oh, those are my tax dollars being sent over to Israel to try to blow them up, and then also my tax dollars somehow protecting Israel, which I'm okay with protecting Israel. But, I believe that $400 billion that Obama and Biden sent to Iran had something to do with what was going on a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it's funny. We're supporting Israel, thank goodness, thank God. But the other part is we're funding the other part of the war. It's not like America hasn't done that before, right? We don't fund two parts of the war.
No.
But that's exactly
There's not a military-industrial complex.
No, not here, not here. It's just crazy. I don't know. I don't know what's going to change or how we're going to change this, but it's going to take, like I keep saying over and over, it's going to take people like you and I and others and people that follow this show to speak up, stay vigilant, stay alert, and I don't know, just pray for this nation. This article reads, unfortunately for conservatives who constantly find themselves at odds with their feckless representatives, the rhinos have done it again and turned their backs on their electors. Letting their constituents down seems to be the one thing that a Republican in name only / rhino knows how to do well and so often. Robbie Starbuck, a good friend of ours, tweeted, sounds like Mike Johnson has a deal with Hakeem Jeffries for the Democrats to save his speakership. I look forward to that vote so he can be their speaker because he's certainly not the Republican speaker. Landon, let's go ahead and play that clip there.
Okay.
I don't know if you're aware, but Congressman Paul Gosar has now come out in favor of a motion to vacate, joining Congressman Green's motion to potentially oust the speaker. Obviously, if all Democrats were to join them, the speaker could potentially be out. I know when I asked you yesterday about the motion to vacate, you pointed back to your previous statements in February, and at that time you told the New York Times where Speaker Johnson to do the right thing relative to meeting the significant national security needs of the American people by putting it on the floor for an up or down vote. There will be a reasonable number of people in the House Democratic caucus who will take the position that he should not fall as a result. Is that still your position?
Yeah, that's a declaration, not an observation, but that statement still stands.
I just wanted to
By the
clarify.
way, let me
So
also,
to be clear, you would save him?
no, that's a declaration, not an observation. We'll have to have that conversation before the House caucus. But first things first, we still have to get the national security bills over the finish line. In that statement, that's what we made clear, that we have to do the business of the American people. We've been waiting for months, unnecessarily, because of gamesmanship and partisanship and brinksmanship on the other side of the aisle. First, the extreme MAGA Republicans said, we can't meet the national security needs of the American people until we make changes to border policy. And then the extreme MAGA Republicans killed a border policy bipartisan piece of legislation.
Landon, it's funny that he says bipartisan policy. What he's not mentioning is that everything that they wanted in that bill was just something that we weren't willing to do. And that's how this works. We want something done, especially the Republican Party, with border security, but they want to slush it with a bunch of other things that is counterproductive to our efforts. And this is the interesting part, where they have so much support for Speaker Johnson has literal protections now, or they're advocating for him, and it almost feels like they have him in their pockets. The Democrats have Speaker Johnson in their pockets, and that's why they don't seem to care much that the Republicans want him out. Well, certain ones like Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, and we don't know what they have on him, or if they have anything on him, or they're just threatening to put stuff on his computer. I don't know if you saw the interview with Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan the other day, but Tucker was saying that there's people in Congress who are terrified that the intelligence community is going to put stuff on their computer. I don't know if it's something like that, or if he was just always, playing the game, the political party. But something else this guy said is he is labeling people extreme MAGA Republicans, and we've heard that from President Biden and all in that weird Sith Lord type speech he gave. But it's crazy that that people who want to protect the border and who are America first and love this country are now extremists.
Right.
And it goes back to these people that are for open borders and are for sending billions of dollars over to Europe. They're all globalists. They're all trying to further the UN agendas, and they're not for America. They don't care anything about America. And so I hope people take that into account and really, really think about that when they go to the polls this November, is that these people that have been in there for years are for the world government, not the American government, and we've got to protect the American government.
That's good.
And vote against the world government.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. I mean, that's what we preach all the time, and these are the reasons. To be honest with you, it's not going to get better until good starts to rise up and make the change.
Right.
And so that's why we're here. I think as long as we sit back and watch the evil just do evil, then good will never prevail. We have to be that light, and make sure we get people that are solid and that won't buckle under pressure. I can't imagine what Speaker Johnson is facing, but quite frankly, it's not exciting because it's affecting America and our policies, and those policies affect our families, our communities, our homes, and everybody around that. So. I don't want to spend too much more on this because there's so much more to come. But let's dive into what Charlie Kirk says, Landon. He says Speaker Mike Johnson defended shredding the Fourth Amendment and passing FISA warrantless surveillance after a top secret briefing with the NSA, CIA, FBI, DNI, and DOJ. Well, Republican Thomas Massie was in the same CIF as Speaker Johnson, and he's fed up with the lying. So play that clip with Charlie Kirk, Landon, if you can.
What happened? What would cause somebody to flip from fighting hard in a committee to all of a sudden having the deciding vote as Speaker? Was he an imposter all along?
I'm coming to that conclusion. I don't think his family's locked up in the basement somewhere, being tortured. Those claims are ridiculous. I don't even believe that he went in a skiff and learned something that we don't know, because I spent 3.5 hours in the skiff with Mike Johnson. Remember, I'm on the Judiciary Committee. And I got the same briefing he got from CIA, NSA, DOD, FBI, DNI, FISA judge. They were all in that skiff. It was actually a 4-hour meeting. After 3.5 hours, I said, this is enough. This is a waste of time. You haven't given us one example of where spying on Americans without a warrant was able to help you avert terrorism. They gave us hypotheticals, and then they gave us examples of how spying on foreigners overseas without a warrant was helpful. But they never gave us an example. So don't believe his story that he went to the skiff and he learned something. That's not true.
So, but I'm just shocked. I haven't heard anyone say that as crisply as you has. I want to repeat that. You were in the same skiff as Speaker Johnson, because I got really fired up at Speaker Johnson on this vote, and I called him and I texted him, and he was arguing from authority with me, Congressman, saying, Charlie, if you were in the skiff like I was, you would understand. And I literally have this in writing. You think innocent Americans will die if we require the FBI to get a warrant? ? I do. So how did what did he hear that you didn't hear in this song and dance 4-hour struggle session in the skiff?
It was a struggle session. It was like a brainwashing session. And here's the thing, Charlie. When you go into a skiff, remember, most congressmen are used to having two things with them that allow them to verify something if they're being told a lie. Number one, they usually have their smartphone with them.
And their staff.
And their staff. Exactly. Those two things you are deprived of. So if you are deprived of those two things and any connection to anybody for 3 or 4 hours, you kind of start believing what they're saying, and you think, well, maybe they'll let me out of this skiff if I just nod my head and succumb to the pressure.
I think what I want to say here is that this is why we need to pray for our leaders, because the skiff sounds like a brainwashing session, right, Landon? I mean, It sounds like you get locked in a room and you get told what to do, plain and simple. And you got to be strong and courageous and grounded in what you believe in and what you believe is right. So I don't know. To me, it sounds like he got tossed in a room without his phone and staff, and he kind of changed his tune a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think that would make me angry if they did that to me. If I was put in that situation, I'm a little bit stubborn, and I think if I was being hounded like that, it would just tick me off and be like, you know what? No, that's not happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've definitely got to pray for our leaders, because they're coming under attack, and America is coming under attack, and we've got to right the ship, and we've got to have people in there that can right the ship.
Yeah. Well, and it's I can't imagine. I've worked with some of our leaders, our government leaders, and there is a lot that we don't know that goes behind closed doors. There's a lot that they have to decide through and figure out. That's why they have staff members and people to help them through, and to be put in a room like that seems like a challenge, right? But part of this deal with this bill passing is the government continuing to expand their operations when it comes to monitoring regular Americans. I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting time to be alive. I like what the article says here. Only God knows what could happen next, but it doesn't take much discernment to see that it's not anything good. Prophecies are being fulfilled daily before our very eyes, and those of us who thought we were sending representatives to stand in the gap for good instead have paved the way for evil. But we'll continue to pray. There's a little bit of prophecy stuff that we want to talk about at the end of the show, so don't go far. When we come back, we're going to discuss some issues at the border and diseases that are coming back and making a rise. Welcome back to the program, everybody. This is Political Pulpit Live, coming to you from Dallas today. And in studio, we have our good producer, co-host, Landon Medlock.
Hey.
What's up, my man? He's our show's country bumpkin.
Yeah, I'm from Tennessee.
Yeah, he brings that Tennessee with him and a whole lot of Texas, and that's all right.
Go Vols.
welcome back. We're hoping that our live is going to be more interactive. We'll have comments and we'll discuss those with you all. And you feel free to comment, like, and share. Rumble, YouTube, as long as they keep us, and Facebook, and of course, politicalpulpit.com. I want to talk about the resurgence of tuberculosis. A good friend of mine, Dr. Adam Sewell, raised some concern with me. So we were talking about it and what we thought was really the issue. And it turns out there's a lot of disease crossing over into the United States from the border. And, you know, we just got out of I don't want to say the disease or virus that was used against us for the last 4 years. And they were so serious about closing down churches and places of worship and restaurants and all the things, but keeping the bars and strip clubs open. But now we have the border and there's, you know, little to no screening. Nobody's really worried about disease, but we're seeing an uptick in all of those things. In this article on the Political Pulpit, it says, Dr. Adam Sewell highlighted a pressing health concern that has seen a significant uptick in the United States. The resurgence of tuberculosis. With an authoritative tone, a clear sense of urgency, Dr. Sewell elucidates, oh Lord, that's a hard word. He tells us how this resurgence may be tied to recent immigration policies and the lack of health screenings for new arrivals. Landon, you didn't write this article, did you?
No, definitely not. No, I was homeschooled. I can't spell those words.
Yeah, I had a little bit of homeschooling, something. I'll say Christian Academy education, and I still don't know those words. Yeah, we got to work on that. But anyway, we'll get to that later. Landon, go ahead and play that clip from Dr. Adam. So it's a long clip. We won't play it all.
Okay.
Hey guys, Dr. Adam Sewell here, and I wanted to make a special video because it's a very pertinent topic regarding our health and our safety in America. As you know, the Biden administration has basically been importing illegal immigrants into this country. They did it through basically unsecuring the borders, promoting illegal immigrants to come to this country. And because of that, what we found now is that there is a huge increase in tuberculosis. A lot of physicians are talking about it. The CDC finally admitted that there's actually an increase in cases, and now it's starting to come out on the news saying that many of the diseases that we normally screen for when we have people that come through the country through the normal legal process, of course, are not being done at all. And so now we have basically large amounts of tuberculosis spreading throughout the country. Here I have a couple articles pulled up for you as references. This is an article here called from the Heritage Foundation showing that Biden is encouraging massive illegal immigration and is hiding it with secret flights. They're literally flying illegal immigrants from other countries into the US without any processing or anything. And many of these immigrants, we don't know their health status. We don't know if they have tuberculosis, they have other communicable diseases. Nothing is done to monitor that at all. And of course, nothing is done to protect the Americans who pay all the taxes to pay for these flights. So one of the things I just want to show you is I personally have traveled in the airport recently and I saw what appeared to be a large amount of illegal immigrants coming through a plane. Many of them had coughs. I could hear very deep coughs that I haven't heard in a very long time. And they reminded me very much of tuberculosis. And so sure enough, as we see here, we have record numbers of illegal immigrants coming to the country. Here's an article here from thehill.com showing that illegal immigrants doubled under Biden. That's just the very beginning of it. We also have new reports here from NBC Montana showing that Biden flew hundreds of thousands of immigrants into the US using a CBP1 app, whatever that is, basically getting people in. And finally, we have data from CNN, probably one of the untrustworthy websites nowadays. But even they are starting to admit that U.S. tuberculosis cases are starting to skyrocket. A lot of physicians I know that are in the field are saying that it's way worse than the data they're reporting. And a lot of people believe the CDC is suppressing these numbers on purpose.
I think that's extremely concerning to me.
Yeah.
I mean, we have already our own issues with our healthcare system. It's only going to flood the system. And I feel like we're just flooding every system, from healthcare to welfare to all the government programs. And I mean, it's not like America is in any position to take on 7 million more people that are unaccounted for. Yeah. And it's just unreal.
Yeah, and if you look on the CNN article that he showed, it was saying it's reaching pandemic level. So, you know, they're already starting to, they've been looking for the next pandemic for a while, but they're already starting to try to push that. And if you look at like the WHO and their that vote that they've been trying to push through to that would give them control over a government, a sovereign government, if they declare that there is a pandemic or an emergency, a health emergency. They could take full control of the government. That's very concerning. But what this reminds me of is actually Matthew 24. And in verse 6 and verse 7, Jesus is talking to the disciples. This is he's telling them, they're asking him, when is the end of the age? When is he going to return and set up his kingdom? And so he's giving them an answer, and he's saying that in the last days you'll hear of wars and rumors of wars. We're hearing that every single day,
right,
and seeing it kick up. But see that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. The pestilences there would be these sicknesses that are coming, whether it's COVID or tuberculosis or all these things that are starting to rise. So what I think is we're seeing the fulfillment and the beginning of the fulfillment of that prophecy that Jesus spoke of. And in verse 8 he says, all these are the beginning of sorrows. So it may not be the best now, but it will get better. Even though it's the beginning of sorrows, it's definitely going to get better. It'll get worse before it gets better. It's always the darkest just before the daylight, but daylight's coming.
Right. That's good, man. Thank you for that. I think that with the rise of these different diseases and rumors of war and pestilence, it kind of, I mean, I don't know. I grew up in a time where it was like, Jesus is coming. You better get ready. And I was like 10 years old and kind of waiting. I might not make it to 12, and then I made it to 16. And here I am 15, 20 years later, still alive, and God hasn't come yet. But
did you ever did you ever like wake up on a Saturday morning or whatever, and your parents had left and not told you, and you came downstairs? Thought you missed the rapture?
Well, I grew up where my dad was always pranking me and making me believe that he was already gone and we were left.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
did he leave you his clothes?
Or just like disappear, not answer, or something crazy like that. So I mean. But the truth is that God's time is not our time. We don't understand how this all works, but we pay attention to the signs. And with the wars that are going on and now the rise in disease, you can't ignore it. And that's why we love End Time Ministries in the studios that we're in now, is because they keep us informed and constantly on top of what's happening in the world and how it relates to the Bible and Scripture. And that's why it's great to have you on the show, Landon, because it's a little bit of touch and time.
just a touch.
Yeah, we're not blessed to have Doug Norvell, Dave, or Vince.
I'm definitely not on their level for sure.
That's all right. No, we're honored to have you, Landon. So thank you so much for being on the show with us. Now the new thing that's coming out, I don't know if you guys heard, is threats for cyber attacks. What else can we take? Literally. I mean, now China's threatening us with cyber attacks. I'll jump into that in a moment. We got one more sponsor to get through. We love Blink Bed, but we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Today's episode of The Political Pulpit is proudly sponsored by Blink Bed, the ultimate solution for a good night's sleep. As we navigate the complexities of politics and faith, it's crucial to rest well. Blink Bed offers a revolutionary mattress designed with your comfort in mind. Crafted with cutting-edge technology and the finest materials, it's a sleep experience like no other. Did you know that Blink Mattress is the only mattress certified by the American Arthritis Foundation? Say goodbye to restless nights and wake up rejuvenated, ready to face the day's challenges. Blink Bed is not just a mattress, it's an investment in your well-being. So visit www.blinkbed.com and use code PULPIT24 for an exclusive 20% discount. That's www.blinkbed.com. Because a well-rested mind is a powerful mind. Blink Bed for a sleep experience as enlightened as your political insights. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're on the Political Pulpit Live with our new and awesome co-host, producer, and all things amazing. Landon Metlock, what's up, man?
Not
We're
much.
back.
Yeah, little
little handshake.
yeah, little handshake. Little
Spirit
ASL.
fingers.
Yeah, spirit fingers.
Spirit fingers. So we're talking about cyber attacks. Yay, yippee! That sounds like it's going to be fun. Whatever, we'll get through it, I guess. But the main part of this is that we're going to keep everybody informed. We love a new show and host. His name is Steve Ram. He's just flying through the media and rise to just new levels. I think he just got a new milestone on his YouTube, 500,000 subscribers in just a short period of time. Good friend of ours. We're going to be featuring a lot of his videos, a lot of his breaking news coverage is where he really shines. And I'd like to feature some of that today on the show and also inform everybody about what he's concerned about, which is now our concern. Let's go ahead and play the first part of that clip.
Chinese hackers are targeting the U.S. with potentially damaging cyber attacks.
FBI Director Wray warns Chinese cyber hackers are already inside U.S. infrastructure, that they're going to deal a, quote, devastating blow to the power grid, water treatment plants, to, quote, induce panic.
Director of the FBI is detailing the threat China poses to the United States. Critical infrastructure, he says, is a prime target.
The worst case scenario is that they could turn off our lights, damage our water treatment, and stop our cellular phone communications in the event of an invasion of Taiwan.
More warnings coming out from FBI Director Wray in the last 24 hours that cyber attacks from China against the United States' infrastructure systems will be coming here very soon. Take a look at the latest headlines. Chinese hackers preparing to physically wreak havoc on U.S. critical infrastructure, FBI Director says, and he says that the hackers want to induce panic.
So that's that. I mean, you know, the world's ending, the disease is rising, the world's going to split in half soon, guys. So thanks. We'll see y'all later.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't mean to make light of it, but I think it's really serious that we have some serious business to take care of as a nation. I just pray to God that our leaders pay attention.
That's definitely something that we can be praying for. We can't change people's hearts, but God can change their hearts, and there is a lot of power in prayer.
I don't want to speak as if it's doomsday and instill fear. That's not what this show is about. But I do want to highlight what we should all be paying attention to. It is very serious. You know, I think what could come of cyber attacks. What's some of the things that could be problematic? Well, they could attack our water systems, our grids. You know, we've had in Dallas. Were you here for that, Landon?
Oh yeah, I was here for Snowmageddon. Is that what we call it?
Snowmageddon.
Yeah.
What happened?
So a giant ice/snowstorm came through.
Okay.
And knocked out the entire city, basically.
Yeah.
There was several inches of ice on top of, or snow on top of several inches of ice. And it knocked out our power grids. We were without power for 3 days. And it was below freezing. I worked for a local police department here at the time, and I, was an essential worker. And they're like, you still got to come in, and it's negative 10 degrees, which I know the people in the north are like, that's nothing. But I'm a Southern boy. I've been a Southern boy my whole life. Negative 10 degrees is not fun.
Not fun.
But yeah, I walked outside, and my breath, by the time it hit my eyelashes, was frozen. And so I was walking around with icicles on my eyelashes.
So what if it's frozen bad breath?
Yeah, it's not. You can see the smell is what happened.
That's the one time you can see the smell.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, that was no fun. It was no fun sitting, not having power. I lived in an apartment at the time, and we didn't have a generator or anything to connect to our power there, and so we just moved all of our couches and made a little fort with our daughter at the time, my wife and I.
Yeah.
We just slept there and let our body heat kind of radiate in there, and that did end up working, but that was no fun. No fun. And you're not going to the store because they're all closed down. So if you don't have any food or anything prepared for that, it's definitely not going to be a fun experience.
Not fun at all. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I know that was a tough time here in Dallas or here in Texas, but that was a unique situation. But at the same time, it's an example of what could happen.
Right.
I mean, you just need one grid to go down in each city and we're all in trouble. And not to mention some of the nuclear stuff that we have throughout the country, and missile systems and all those things. Long story short, let's just pray our government does the right thing, but it's something to stay aware of. That pretty much concludes the show, but I want to give a message of hope, and that is, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and a sound mind. He didn't call us to be scared and fearful. He gave us strength. He gave us a clear, level head, and to love our neighbor. And I want to make sure that we're not worried about too much of the day-to-day stuff outside of trusting God and making sure that He is sovereign in our lives. Otherwise, we will operate and function with fear. Landon, I mean, what do you think?
No, I totally agree, wholeheartedly. And I know it looks dark in America right now. It looks like we're going right into the world government. It looks like we're going right back into all of these things that we, as Americans, as red-blooded, patriotic Americans, we don't stand for. But there is hope that we are going to come out of that. We're going to stand with Israel, and we're going to stand against the world government. We're going to stand against the Antichrist. In Daniel 7, it talks about Daniel sees this vision of these beasts rising up out of the sea. And one of those is these beasts represent nations that will be on earth at the time of the second coming of Jesus Christ. One of those nations is Jesus, or not Jesus. One of those nations is America.
I didn't say right to that. You guys know what I meant.
Don't quote me on that. One of those nations is America. And if you look at Revelation 13, all of those beasts that were in Daniel 7 that he saw of this end time scenario are in Revelation 13, and they've all combined into a world governing beast. But what we don't see there in that world governing beast are the wings of the eagle. We don't see America there joining the world government beast. Where we do see America is standing with Israel against the world government and protecting her until Jesus comes back. And so that to me is a dose of hopium, what I like to call, because I know that it may look dark now, but it's going to turn around.
That's good. That's good. And with that, we want to thank everybody for joining us. Be sure to like, share, comment, and let everybody know about the Political Pulpit. Be sure to visit our website at politicalpulpit.com, and we'll see you next time. God bless.